from our friend Simon. Simon is one of our VARs that's very active selling the Vodia product and is using Vodia because of a HIPAA compliance. So I'm going to unmute him. Simon?
Hey guys, this is Simon. I am with SA Technology Group, and we are an MSP based out of Chicago. And Hamlet, thank you for the intro and giving me the floor on this one. So really quickly, Hamlet mentioned a couple of things here. One was HIPAA and compliancy group and how they're achieving it, and also how MSPs can utilize both of those offers and technologies, if you will. So really quickly on the compliancy group side, basically what compliancy group, and Paul was supposed to join, but he ran into a little bit of a snag on his end. So I'm gonna just quickly talk about it, just to give you guys an intro and see where, and it's so everybody can understand where Hamlet was coming from with the HIPAA compliance, with the HIPAA seal of compliance on the website and so on. So what compliancy group does is basically helps organizations that need to be HIPAA compliant become and stay HIPAA compliant. Anybody from a MSP that has healthcare customers to billing companies, lawyers, anybody that touches doctors, of course, hospitals, clinics, you name it, anybody that touches any data that is considered protected healthcare information. What they do is they provide the service through a web-based interface. It's a software, actually, a web-based software that walks you through the process. Not sure how familiar you guys are with the compliance, with HIPAA compliance, but it's quite a few policies, training, procedures that every company needs to have internally. And just want to stress out, if you have healthcare customers and you have any access to their data, even if you're not accessing it, just the fact that you have access to the data, it makes you fall under the umbrella of being HIPAA compliant. And what that does is you can face potential penalties and lawsuits if something gets breached and you're not HIPAA compliant yourself. So what the compliance group does is they walk you through it. They give you all the policies and procedures. They tell you how to do your audits. There's 6 different audits that you have to do, and does your training, business associate agreements, which are agreements between the MSPs and the HIPAA compliant within the covered entity, to use the official terms, that you need to have with your medical or healthcare clients. Process is simple. You walk through step by step. They have live HIPAA coaches, support. They will help you with dealing with anything with the Office of Civil Rights, which oversees HIPAA. I'm not going to get too much in detail about this, but I'll explain a little bit later how all ties up from an MSP perspective. Now on what we do.
And Simon, I don't mean to interrupt, but now your revenue has grown because you're HIPAA compliant now. Right.
Exactly, and that's why I was leaving this at for the last portion. I wanted to basically talk about how you guys tied up and so on. So with Vodia, and with Vodia being HIPAA compliant, not sure if any of you have done any research, but if you type in HIPAA compliant PBX, you will get some hits, but nobody advertises that, and that is because it comes tied up at a risk, right? You yourself have to be HIPAA compliant in order to offer services to a healthcare entity. With Vodia taking the extra step to do this, it gives us as MSPs an edge, if you will. We can go to a healthcare entity and say, hey, I know you guys have a phone system. It might be something outdated. It might be something that they're looking to change. It might be something they're not happy with. There's a lot of options. There's thousands of options out there. But what separates us from the rest, and what gives us, or one of the things that separates us from the rest, is we offer a product that will actually meet and exceed all of the HIPAA requirements when it comes to your phone system. And a lot of people will look at you and say, well, what does our phone system have to do with protected healthcare information? And you can turn around and ask them, do people leave voicemails? Yes, they do. Do you record your calls? Yes, we do. Voicemail at this point and call recording is a file that contains healthcare information and it needs to be protected properly. So with Vodia taking that extra step, it gives us MSPs the ability to walk in and say, we're not offering just any phone system. We're offering something that is HIPAA compliant. The moment you mention HIPAA to anybody that is in the medical field, it will get their attention because they know what it is. They all hate it, to be honest with you, with working with medical providers. They know that it's a federal law. They just don't, they're scared of it. Many people are scared of it because it can be cumbersome. But with Vodia, you can walk in and say, listen, we have a HIPAA compliant solution for you. We can offer it, and when it comes to your phones, it covers you. And we ensure
you're protected.
You're protected, yeah. We ensure that your information is protected. Not only that Vodia, it's a full set of full feature set of PBX system, but they took the extra step to get compliant. And it gives you an edge. It will force people or prospective customers to pay more attention to you. And many times that's the hurdle with MSPs is how do you get somebody to pay attention to you? We can all sell. It's just getting to the point of I need your attention. So pay attention, and then that at least on our end, that has been the biggest hurdle is not necessarily selling to a customer, but getting them to pay attention to what we have to say. So where does all tied up? If you guys, and I will share my information, as I said, Paul ran a little late, or Paul ran into a snag, but I can make an introduction to Paul and Compliancy Group. What Compliancy Group does is they work with MSPs, make them HIPAA compliant, and what you can turn around then is bundle services that are HIPAA compliant. So when you walk into a shop that is a covered entity and needs to comply with all the HIPAA laws, you can offer a full set of solution. And that's where Hamlet's earlier point was about revenue. We have seen a tremendous increase in revenue when we actually became HIPAA compliant ourselves and started offering HIPAA compliant services. In the beginning, we were not offering the phone service because multiple reasons. One of them was, how do we ensure that people use their phone system in a HIPAA compliant way and stay this way. And especially when people had access to their phone system for one reason or another, they can easily make changes and break the compliance portion. That's when I talked to Kyle and Hamlet about this, and that's where they're going this way to ensure that what they offer it's hardened enough to meet the compliance requirements. But from a revenue perspective, we had before we became HIPAA compliant through Compliancy Group, we had healthcare customers, and we didn't realize that we had to be HIPAA compliant. The moment that we realized that and realized the risk that is behind this, it's potential fines, depending on what it is, it can be a criminal offense as well. We went through the process. As soon as we went through the process, we kind of realized, hey, there's a big market there. How can we tap into that market? So from an MSP perspective, we turn around and we created a whole offer geared towards compliance in HIPAA compliance. We offer a set of services, and Vodia is part of them, that we can walk into a practice and say, we can evaluate your practice, find your gaps, and give you a statement of work or present an offer for you guys where you can make your practice HIPAA compliant with our offer. And you as a MSP, I can tell you the money is there, the market is there. You would be surprised, how many people, I read a statistic that most of the, not most, but over 70% of the HIPAA covered entities, that's all businesses in the United States, that must comply with HIPAA are not. They're flat out not. They're missing most of the things that they need to have in place. So from a revenue perspective, there's a huge market there. I cannot imagine you driving through a city in a plaza and not seeing at least 5 or 6, medical practices, regardless of what it is, from chiropractors, dermatologists, you name it. So combining HIPAA compliant services and turning around and offering them, and when I say services, you're talking about compliancy group, Vodia, and everything else from a technology perspective that goes into it, it opens a huge revenue stream. At least it has for us. I am very happy that we made that step. It took us about a year to switch all of the vendors that we're using, because I don't know how many of you guys are MSPs and do a full service set, but a lot of, and we were in that boat as well. We were using, I'll give you an example. We're using WebRoot for antivirus. WebRoot won't cut it when it comes to HIPAA. You have to change, you might have to restructure things in the way that you do things internally, but at the same time, the benefits off of it are definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. We've seen because we structured our business towards healthcare, it gave us more concentration on a vertical. And I know some people don't like this, but healthcare is such a huge vertical that there's so much work in it. It will keep you busy for years if you structure your product right and offer the services. The way that we approach it is we want it to be a one-stop shop, meaning we will offer everything that HIPAA requires. There's no way that you can do it internally yourself. You have to use vendors. That's where Compliance Group comes in. That's where Vodia comes in. And everybody else, we offer just a bundle of the service. It's been great. We've shifted our entire attention to healthcare because we have the tools, we are compliant, and the money is just there. As I said, we're very happy where we are at the moment.
So Simon, we're gonna take a couple questions. I'm not gonna unmute you. Just in case I have a question, you can answer them. One of them are, what version of Vodia is HIPAA compliant? And thank you very much. We appreciate your time and knowledge that you shared with us today. I'm gonna read the first question. Is Vodia is HIPAA compliant 65 or earlier? Well, the software itself is compliant. So either 65 or earlier, you're covered with the HIPAA compliance because the software itself is certified. But as a grain of salt, go to version 65 just to see our new version, Windows version, Android version, Mac version, Linux version. Guys, if you have any questions, just please pile them on here. I have Simon here and myself. Hopefully we can help you out if you have any questions.
So really quickly on the versioning, I don't know if I can share some information, but Kyle and Hamlet they're gonna have to forgive me on this one. When you are looking at compliance and a product, it's what do you do with the product and how you use it, right? I'll give you a quick example. When it comes to phone system and Vodia, right? Can you make 64 HIPAA compliant? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What the conversation, and I'll get into this a little bit more, but the conversation that we had with Kyle, Hamlet, and Christian was to create a separate SKU. And again, please don't quote me on this one. This is something still in the works, where right out of the box, some of the functionality, if you will, on the PBX is disabled and you're not able to enable it. And I'll elaborate a little more on this. So when it comes to compliance, right, that goes for any product, not only the PBX and not only your phone system. You have two types of data at rest and data in transit. Data, with regards to a phone system, your data in rest will be your call recordings if you're recording calls, and voicemails if you have voicemail enabled. Data in transit will be the actual call. you speaking to someone, right? Would it be outside party, inside party, or checking your voicemail? It's still data in transit. So you have to secure both. Data at rest is easily secured. Encrypt the hard drive. Also, voicemail to email. That is a big no-no. In order for you to send a voicemail to email, you need to encrypt that email in process. That's going to be very hard to do with a phone system. So the recommendation for any phone system that it needs to go through the HIPAA processes, voicemail to email, disabled. It's a nice feature. People like it, and it's easily enabled or disabled. The other thing is your call recordings. The data at rest, the encryption of the hard drive will be absolutely mandatory. You have to do it, right? Any hard drive that stores data needs to be encrypted. When it comes to data in transit, that's your phone call. You will have to use secure SIP. You would have to make that call, and that RTP stream and the SIP messaging, that would have to go through a secure SIP and be encrypted. That's almost the messaging, but the RTP stream, right? That would have to be encrypted. It has to be a secured SIP. So can you make 64 with that? Yes, you can. You just have to go through those processes. The other big thing about HIPAA is audit trail. So who logged in to the PBX, which that is in your logs and or syslog. You can do that as well. You're going to have that, and basically know what's been changed and by whom, and know who's logged into the PBX when data is transferred. In your case, this is going to be a call log and so on. So yes, can you make 64 compliant? Unless you cannot encrypt the hard drive, or 64 doesn't support secure SIP or secure RTP, then yes, you can do it. Now, back to Hamlet's point, you probably want to upgrade because you want to take advantage of a bunch of new things that Vodia introduced, such as the apps, more stable versions, and so on. So I hope that answered the question on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think before the HIPAA compliance came into place, we've already supported TLS version 1.1 and 1.02 and SRTP. We also have a key that's introduced that we give you that kind of encrypts the RTP. So you won't be able to do a Wireshark on it unless you have the key to encrypt the data. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Packet capture is another one. So Sage asked about voicemail to email, HIPAA compliant email. So just to touch on that, any email sent that contains any healthcare information must be encrypted. So yeah, I guess you can do this, but you have to find a way to encrypt any email coming out of the PBX with that voicemail to be encrypted, and then to decrypt it on the other end. So there's different, depending on what you use for email encryption, there's ways to do it, but basically the rule of thumb with voicemail to email is disable it when it comes to HIPAA. Can you make it work? Yes, you can. But you have to find out how are you gonna encrypt every single email that the system sends? That might be a little bit cumbersome because you're probably gonna use the same email that sends the voicemail to email to the end user for your notifications from the system. So you're gonna run into some trouble. So Sage, yes, you can do it, but you might have to jump through some hoops and try to figure out. And that will also depend on what platform are you using to encrypt your emails. Are you using Office 365 and Gmail built-in, or using Proofpoint, Mimecast, and everybody else that is out there? So you might have to. That's why the rule of thumb is don't send it. and go from there. So because back on the email encryption, that offers that it presents one more problem. Once you decrypt that email and you download it, it stays in your email box unless they delete it. And even if it's deleted, it goes into your deleted email box. Email being one of the most compromised platforms, now you have to make sure that that email doesn't stay in the email box because it has personal healthcare information, that it got decrypted, and how do you protect it?
So Simon, just for a closing, so on the email subject, so that is a service that you have to provide, since Vodia is sending out the email, usually a voicemail or a missed call message. So it's up to the MSP to find a way to make this solution encrypted as well, and not just voice.
Right.
And on that note, thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it. We're glad that we have Simon in our corner. If you guys have any questions, please send it at support@vodia.com. Anything that has to do with HIPAA compliance, please shoot away. We have Simon with us, and he can answer some of the questions that you guys might have. Thank you very much for coming, and have a good day, and please stay safe. Simon, thank you, and have a good rest of the evening.
Not a problem. And Hamlet, I just wanted to mention, if you want to just, everybody that participated and so on, just share my information with them. If they have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. Yeah, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Absolutely.
Regardless if it's a HIPAA or Vodia question, or how we tied up the tool, if people want to get more into details,
Absolutely.
I'll be more than happy to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Simon. Guys, have a good day. Please stay safe. See you next time.